Hello everybody, this is Xorkent too. Yeah, it's been a long time since you've heard that intro, hasn't it? I tried to make it less cringy than the original version, but let's be honest, anything is less cringy than the original version, so I think I'm good there. We have less than a day before time moves on to 2022, and normally I'd just join the flow and look ahead at what could happen next. However, this year I'm going to do something I haven't done on either channel before. I'm going to sit by this imaginary fireplace and look back on stuff that's happened this year. Feel free to join me and listen to my story, I guess, if you have no friends and therefore have no one else to spend your New Year's Eve with. That's why I'm here after all, as sad as that is. So if I'm gonna be honest, this year was probably the most chaotic year of my life. So many things happened, some good, some bad. Honestly, it was almost ironically funny how after getting through 2020 we were all like, oh my god, it's over, thank gosh, there's no way 2021 could be worse. And then not even a week in, January 6th happened. Off to a great start, right? No, that couldn't possibly have been further from it. But for me, January 6th was probably the least sad thing that happened this year because not too long after that, my cat died. And I don't want to say for a fact that it was the single most depressing thing I've ever had to witness, but it's on the top 3 for sure. To be real though, the moment itself wasn't nearly as disheartening to me as every moment afterward. Things will just never be the same without that guy. Rest in peace, buddy. I don't want to dwell on that for too long though, because some good things did happen this year, even if it's not much compared to the not so good. In the first half of the year, I started and finished an interesting Terraria project I called the Pacifist Run. It was an interesting concept, and now that I've proved it to be possible, I'm sure some people will eventually begin to build off it and start things like Summoner-only Pacifist, or Melee Pacifist, or Pacifist Master Mode for the Worthy. You're welcome to try any of those if you'd like. You know, despite the many janks and bugs I encountered in that series, the most disruptive one being the pulse bow sneaking its way in during part 3, I actually really liked doing that series, and I'd love to try another Terraria challenge someday, if I ever get enough time again. You know, it's funny, I recently rewatched the Pacifist series and just thought, wasn't my voice really that high then? It was only 6 or 7 months ago. To be fair, I still sound like a 5-year-old at times, but hey, at least I don't sound like a 4-year-old anymore, am I right? All jokes aside, that series was probably the biggest thing I actually finished this year, and not counting Creepypasta War since Season 2 is still active, this was the first YouTube project I've ever finished. Oh man, the trends this year. You know, I'm gonna be honest here, the trends and quote-unquote things this year just weren't all that great. You started off with Friday Night Funkin', and yeah, the game itself is interesting enough on its own, but in my opinion, it was dragged out way past its lifespan. There were just way too many mods trying to be unique by adding their own game mechanics, and it just jumbled everything up. I'd say after Shaggy or the Bob's Onslaught mod, that's when the game started to fade in popularity, because after that, everything else had basically already been done. There were mods that tried to become the new hardest mod, but guys, at some point you just have to learn when to stop. There's a certain point in Friday Night Funkin' where mods stop being iconically hard, and instead become unplayable. Anyway, point through, that game had its fun, and I'm glad it's over because it was kept up much longer than it needed to be. And then we had Squid Game. You know, as depressing of a show as it was, it kinda says a bit about our society, and I don't know how to feel about that. People recreated the games from the show on Roblox, Minecraft, and many other things I'm sure, and to be honest, I thought that was pretty cool. It was probably the most interesting trend of this year, because the last one is something I know for a fact will continue on to early or even mid-2022, and that's FNAF Security Breach. For goodness sake, aren't there like 8 other FNAF games? I know this one's different, but seriously, couldn't you have made something like this instead of FNAF 5 or 6? Look, the Springtrap sequence with like Afton and everything, and the reference to the old game at the end, that was pretty interesting, but aside from that, it's basically just your typical sneak around map and don't get caught horror game with the occasional gameplay reference to one of the older games. Oh yeah, Poppy Playtime existed for like a week, and then everyone forgot about it. Moving on. Hey, remember when we all thought 2020 was gonna be awesome? Those were the days, right? Man, that felt like forever ago. Not because of 2020 though, maybe for you. For me it was 2021 that dragged on slowly. But anyway, we were all so ready for the new year, and then bam, pandemic. And then when 2020 ended, we were all like, okay, hopefully 2021 will be better. And then January 6th. You know, I'd be lying if I told you I think 2022 will be better, because after these past 2 years, I've just completely lost hope. Honestly, the last time period I actually liked was late 2016 to mid 2017. For me personally, that was the best school year ever, and I'm never going to get something like that again. Even if I suddenly become the most respected and likable person on the planet, nothing can compare to that year. That was the one year where I was actually social enough to talk to other people without being super awkward. My friends that year were the coolest people ever, and now I don't even know where most of them are anymore. I guess I sort of expected that after that year ended. Maybe subconsciously it's why I made this channel in the first place, I don't know. Whatever I was hoping my channel to be when I began in 2017, that's certainly not what I'm aiming for now. You might not have noticed this, because I never bring it up, but I don't do that annoying thing YouTubers do where they say,
only a small percentage of my viewers are actually subbed. Free sub, guys.
Because, to tell you the truth, I'm completely fine with being under the radar like this. With the whole thing about playing the algorithm and getting subs and popularity and all that stuff, I feel like, you know, with most YouTubers being caught up in that, they've sort of forgotten the most basic thing about productivity. Doing something not for popularity or gaining anything at all, but just because it's fun and you like to do it. The Pacifist series? Yeah, that was fun. Creepypasta War? Now that I'm not worrying about how fake it looks anymore. Fun. Terraria add-on? Fun. Anyway, back to my original point. After the school year of 2016 through 17 ended, the social anxiety slowly started to creep back in. Since all my friends disappeared into the vastness of the world, I had very few people to socialize with in the following years. Now there's only one person at my school who I can truly call a friend, and even he sometimes does other stuff. I know it's stupid, but I always have the unwavering feeling that everyone just hates me. Throughout recent years, actually, I have heard a couple people talking about me when they think I can't hear them. And if any of those people are watching this right now, probably not. I heard you. I'm not deaf, you know. But anyway, with the social anxiety at levels I didn't know it could reach, and the constant stress from my stupid music-making goals, and with my cat's death being the cherry on top, I think it's finally happened. I think I have depression now, and boy does it suck. I think most of it came from my cat. That hit me really hard. Especially now that he's been replaced by this dog we have now, it's almost like they all just completely forgot about him. Every time I hear the dog scratching through the hallway, I'm just reminded of what isn't there anymore, and also of how everyone else isn't reminded. Right, so we've reached the part where I talk about my plans for 2022. I'm not calling this a New Year's resolution because we all know those things don't work. You keep whatever promise you made to yourself for a month or two and then you slowly forget. No, this is simply what I plan and have plans to do in 2022. Obviously, I'm going to continue the JSAB series, Creepypasta War, and development on the Terraria add-on. I'm also going to try uploading a few shorts about stuff that goes on inside someone's head, kind of like that movie Inside Out, but instead of emotions, you have body parts like brain, eyes, mouth, ears, etc., and like how they communicate with each other, stuff like that. One more thing, and I'm either going to really regret this or really regret this. I've tasked myself with creating the soundtrack for Stars from the Deep. Yes, it will have a soundtrack. A few more songs for Creepypasta War, and since Benji's been inactive for months with no sign that he'll be returning anytime soon, probably the Terraria add-on soundtrack too. Now, up until recently, I didn't actually try getting a sense of how many songs this would be, but a week or two ago, I actually put together a list of all the songs I'll probably have to make, and currently, that number stands at 108. This number isn't final though, it could be more, it could be less, but that's generally how many I will have to make. You want the details? Okay. As it stands, about 3 of these are for Creepypasta War, 46 are for Stars from the Deep, and 59 are for the Terraria add-on. Now, I'm not saying I want to try to make all of these in 2022, because that's practically impossible, especially with the problems I've been having. But I do want to start on this as soon as possible because some of these song ideas have been around for 2 or 3 years and I really want to get these done. So, yeah, that's what you can expect from me this year. Possibly some more stuff I haven't foreseen might happen, but those are my plans. Thank you for staying and listening to me rant about my own life. I hope you had a better 2021 than I did, and here's to 2022. More specifically, all the chaos we know will happen in 2022. Have a good New Year's Eve, everybody.